Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on Sports Talk. I'm your host, William Allen. Today is Sunday, November the 10th. NFL had a lot of exciting games today, and I want to go ahead and just jump right into it because I got to say that Lamar Jackson is one of the most exciting quarterbacks I've seen in the league since Michael Vick as far as athleticism and running the ball. Baltimore Ravens ran all over Cincinnati, 49-13. Lamar Jackson was 15 of 17, 223 yards and 3 TDs, 65 yards rushing. The play that I'm talking about that really got me up off my seat, off the couch, was a play and he was running the football. He spun out of a tackle and ran it all the way down for a touchdown. I haven't seen a play like that from any quarterback since Mike Vick, back when he was with the Atlanta Falcons. But they put in a package today. I guess they called it the Heisman package, where they had Mark Ingram, RG3, and Lamar Jackson in at the same time. It was almost an option play where it looked like Mark Ingram was going to get the ball, but actually it was tossed out to Lamar and then to RG3. Never seen a play like that. You got 3 Heisman players on one play. That was a good game. Also, the highlight game that I really want to talk about is with the Tennessee Titans, their comeback win over Kansas City. That game ended 35-32. It was a great comeback win for the Tennessee Titans. Tannehill was 13-19, 181 yards and 2 TDs. He also had the game-winning TD pass to Adam Humphries with 23 seconds left. They also went for it, 2-point conversion. Tannehill also ran over somebody to get that 2-point conversion. That was an exciting game. I didn't get a chance to see the entire game, but it was a good game. The Titans as a whole, they rushed for 225 yards. Derrick Henry was 188 yards. 2 TDs with a long run of 68 yards. Man, that was a good game. I actually saw some of that. The highlights were unreal in that game. The stadium actually just blew up when Humphries ran that ball in, caught that pass from Tannehill. There's a lot of games in the NFL today, and actually I'll go over them all quickly, but the Cowboys, I think it's the halftime right now. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're losing right now to the Minnesota Vikings. But other notable games today, Atlanta 26-9 over New Orleans Saints. That kind of shocked me right there. Detroit loses to Chicago 13-20. Buffalo loses to Cleveland 16-19. Pittsburgh gets another win over the LA Rams. That's actually, I'm not going to say that's a shocker, but you can with all the injuries that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had and what they're overcoming. Mike Tomlin is doing a terrific job coaching that team. Arizona Cardinals lose to Tampa Bay Bucks 27-30. New York Giants, the Battle of New York, the Giants and the Jets. The Jets actually won 34-27. Green Bay 24-16 over Carolina. Miami actually beat the Colts. That's actually a shocker to me, knowing that Miami is shorthanded on that team as far as talented playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense also is not that great for the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of great games today in the NFL. And I'm not sure what you guys had. You know, lots of people, when they watch these games, they have wings, they have, chips and salsa, whatever you have, your drinks, your beer, whatever, you're drinking. But I got to mention that it's been a big phenomenon with this whole ordeal about Popeye's chicken, the sandwich that they came out with. They ran out, and then now they have them back again. And it's a lot of stories going on where there's been a lot of incidents with people going in trying to get that chicken sandwich. If I'm not mistaken, I just heard that someone actually stabbed somebody in line trying to get a chicken sandwich. Somebody wanted to get ahead of the line, felt like they were better than somebody else. They tried to get ahead of the line, and they stabbed somebody just to try to get a chicken sandwich. I don't know what the craving is. I tried to actually go and get a Popeye's chicken sandwich when they first came out. They sold out. And then I went to Popeye's not too long ago, and they actually didn't have them at that time either. So it's a big phenomenon going on with this Popeye's chicken sandwich. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, is it really that good of a sandwich? I mean, let me know. Put your comments below. Subscribe to William Allen Sports Talk on YouTube. That's where I'm at. So let me move along, because actually I want to get into college football. It was also a lot of good games this weekend. I think the highlight game of the weekend in college football was actually number 2 LSU going up against number 3 Alabama, which was a great game to be expected from everybody. Everybody was watching that game. A lot of predictions. Everybody thought that Alabama was going to win this game. I actually thought Alabama was going to win the game. But I knew that LSU has a great passing attack, especially with Joe Burrow, who right now is probably the front runner right now for the Heisman Trophy right now. I mean, for me, he checks all the boxes as a pure, complete quarterback. He makes the right decisions. He makes the right throws. He gets his players in the right position where they need to be. And they also have a good defense. Even though they lost one of their best tacklers on that squad, he actually quit the team. I'm not sure why. I'm sure it was a good reason why he left. But that team is a complete team right now. Only team I can see really challenging them again, if they had to play again, would be Alabama, and also probably be Ohio State. And you can't forget about Clemson. But let's dive in further to this game. It was actually at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. LSU actually upset the Crimson Tide. It was 46-41. Joe Burrow threw for 339 yards, 3 TDs. He also had 64 yards rushing. I actually feel like the legs of Joe Burrow and his athleticism is what actually got LSU over the hump. They were already beating Alabama pretty good. They kind of shocked Alabama. Tua, he was, it seemed like Alabama's first possession, they were coming down the field, and you almost knew that they were going to run it in for a touchdown. Well, Tua ran out, quarterback scramble. I don't know how he did it. He didn't have the ball in his, in his dominant hand, and the ball just slipped out. He fumbled. LSU got the ball, and then it's almost as if LSU just took off from that point forward. But it was a great game. Tua, in this game, he actually threw for 418 yards and 4 TDs. And the running backs, it's actually a battle of the number 22s, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire, number 22 for LSU, he's only 5'8", 209 pounds. He's from Baton Rouge. He ran for 103 yards, 3 TDs, 5.2 yards per attempt. I mean, that's really good for it. This guy's 5'8". I mean, that's a big guy. You can't tell he's that short, but that guy's short. He's stocky. And the particular play that really got it for me is when he was running the ball. He was running towards the sidelines. You almost assume that he was about to either run out of bounds or he was going to get tackled. Neither was the case. The last Alabama defender tried to come around and snatch the ball, tried to rip it from his arms. Nah, he wasn't having it. He broke that tackle and ran it in for a touchdown. That was a defining moment and a game changer in that game, since the Crimson Tide was definitely trying to come back and win that game. Also, like I said, the battle of the number 22s, running backs for Alabama, Najee Harris, big boy. He's 6'2", 230 pounds. He ran for 146 yards and 1 TD. Also for Alabama, the wide receiver, Devonta Smith, 7 receptions, 213 yards and 2 TDs. He was by far one of Alabama's best players in that game. Even though all that he did, Alabama still didn't come away with the victory on this. So, news and notes, something you guys may not know about. I don't know if you guys watch, college football. I know all you guys aren't. But there was a great story, actually a tragic story. One of the wide receivers for Alabama, Henry Ruggs III. If you look and you Google it, there's a story on him on why he holds up 3 fingers every time he scores a touchdown. They call it threes up. Ruggs, he's actually from Montgomery, Alabama, went to Lee High School. His friend, one of his best friends, they were always together, Rod Scott. He was number 3. And when they played basketball, Ruggs, he was number 2. They were always together. But tragic accident with his friend. He was actually involved in a bad car accident where the car flipped, and Rod Scott was thrown more than 85 feet from the car. When he got to the hospital, I believe he was pretty much brain dead, and he died. And that was his friend. So every time Ruggs scores a TD, he holds 3 fingers up. And that is just to pay tribute to his best friend that he lost He was only 17 years old when that accident happened. I believe that's before he even got to Alabama. So just news and notes on that. And that's a sad story, man. When I heard about that story, it really kind of it makes you appreciate, life and the things that are here and in front of you. Man, enjoy life. Enjoy it to the fullest. Do everything the best that you can. I know you're not gonna be the best every day, but just, man, enjoy life is what that makes me think about. Other things going on in the AP poll. It just was released today, if I'm not mistaken. The top 10 college football poll, week 12. Number 1, LSU. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Clemson. Number 4, Alabama. 5 is Georgia. Oregon comes in at number 6. Minnesota is number 7. Number 8, Utah. Number 9, Penn State. And 10 is Oklahoma. And number 7, speaking of Minnesota, there was a big game with Minnesota and Penn State Saturday. It was one of the early games that came on. It was actually held in Minnesota at Minnesota Field. That was a great game. I don't really follow the Golden Gophers, but this year they are, as we speak right now, 9-0. Number 7 in the new AP poll. The head coach, PJ Fleck, he's only 38 years old. Salary is $3.5 million. He's been the head coach in Minnesota since 2017. But let me give you a little news and information about Fleck. He was actually hired by Western Michigan University December 17th, 2012. Okay, when he was hired, he was the youngest head coach in football subdivision of college football. In 2016, Fleck led the Broncos to an undefeated regular season, and its only loss was to Wisconsin in 2017 Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. That's at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. That was the only loss that he had. So, his first season in Minnesota, he was, 5-7. Okay, this is Minnesota where he's at now. He's 5-7 in his first season. Second season he was 7-6, and of course this season, as you know, they are 9-0. And PJ Fleck, that's a head coach that you have to watch, because normally when coaches that are highly successful get the big phone calls from the big schools. Not to say Minnesota is not a big school, but you got schools out there like USC that right now they're struggling. They just hired an athletic director, if I'm not mistaken, or someone that needs to find a head coach for them. Urban Meyer is not going to be there. They do not want Urban Meyer there. So, Fleck is going to be a hot name, especially after this season. We're going to follow them. At least I am. I want to see what's going to happen with the Golden Gophers as they follow along. Can they move up and actually get to the college football playoffs? It's a possibility, because from what I saw, they actually have a pretty good defense and they have a pretty good offense. I'm not familiar with all the players on that team, but they beat a very good Penn State team. That game was 31-26 over Penn State. All right, other news and notables I got to talk about. Firings, actually, in college football. Actually, Chad Morris was actually fired by Arkansas. It was announced today after 22 games. He was fired. Actually, Saturday they lost to Western Kentucky 45-19, which is a terrible loss. You really shouldn't be losing to Western Kentucky. That's not a team you should lose to. You should be dominating that team. And Arkansas is now 2-9 on the season. They're 4-18 since hiring Chad Morris on December of 2017. Chad Morris is not the only coach that got fired. Also, FSU, the athletic director, David Coburn, made an announcement Sunday that he's firing Willie Taggart. So Taggart is actually fired. He went 9-12 at Florida State with the 0-5 record against their rivals, Florida, Miami, and Clemson. But the good thing about Taggart, even though he lost his job, I know he likes to coach players, and I know he loves to coach. But one good thing that comes out of this story is that he still will receive 85% of his contract. So they owe him over $15 million. So this guy only coached for no more than 2 years. Imagine you go to a job and you get fired and you get $15 million after you get fired. Hey, sounds like a good deal to me. Maybe I need to be a college head coach. So that's the real deal, man. Those two guys got fired. Hopefully, and like I said, I mean, head coaches come and go. If you're not successful, it's basically about what have you done for me lately in football. It doesn't matter if it's the NFL or college. That's pretty much what it boils down to. You got to win. If you don't win, if you don't recruit, you don't get players, you don't motivate your players, if you don't get them to play at a high level and win, you're basically going to get fired. And that is what it is. Hey, so I guess since he hasn't done anything for them, they had to let him go. I kind of feel like it was unfair. I don't really like how these colleges can just fire coaches in the middle of the season. Now, I know it's towards the end of the season, but I don't think it's right that you should fire a coach no matter who it is at this point in the season. You still have your players that, you know, were accustomed to him, to that head coach, and to his style. And I think you at least owe him that much, or owe him the respect, or show him the respect to at least let him finish the season and then go ahead and let him go, at least the right way. I think that's just the wrong thing to do in my book. At least that's what I would do if I was an athletic director. But I do understand, coaches, if you don't perform, you be on the hot seat, and it is what it is. But other news and notes, I know I'm still on college football, but I just want to say I'm proud of the Vols, how they came back against Kentucky. That was a tough game at Kroger Field in Kentucky. I know it was cold out there. It had to be cold out there, chilly. I saw a game today, and it was actually snowing a little bit. But I'm just proud of the way the Vols actually fought and came back in that game. It looked like the quarterback for Kentucky was elusive enough to keep the Vols at bay in the first half. I believe it was like the Vols only scored 3 points in the first half. I mean, they could not stop, what's his name, Bowden? I think it was the quarterback for Kentucky. But they could not stop, even though this guy couldn't pass, worth of crap, he couldn't pass. But this guy was running all over the field, and the Vols could not figure out how to stop this guy. They had a triple option running attack, or he would just line up and just run the ball. But anyway, I'm just proud of my Vols. They pulled out that victory. I believe it was 17-14. I believe that was the score in that game. I'm always proud to see what the Vols are doing and how they're coming through, because they started off 1-4 in the beginning of the season. A lot of people were down on my Volunteers, and I'm just happy for the way that these players have fought. Pruitt has them believing that if they change their practice habits and play the right way, then, you know, they'll improve, they will develop. And that's what has happened right now at the University of Tennessee. So right now, I believe they're at 5-5. They have 2 more teams to play. I believe it's Missouri, and also they play Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt suffered a tough loss against Florida. I don't even think Vanderbilt scored a point. So I don't even know what to say about Vanderbilt right now. They don't really have a good quarterback or a good team right now, so it's hard to recruit at Vanderbilt, especially when you got to have a high GPA, and it's just tough anyway to recruit at that school, period. But moving on, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching my show. Subscribe to me whenever you can. Just remember, every day is a special day because you're healthy, you're alive, you're breathing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the weekend. God bless. You guys stay safe out there. It's almost Thanksgiving. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me on Sports Talk.